Hello, everyone. Hi,
Hello.
Callum. Hi, Adam. What a reunion.
I know.
What
What a reunion. I was thinking the same thing. There's clips in that intro sat in the Bowling Green Lane Cogworks office. Well, must be coming up to 10 years. Scary.
Plus 10.
Yeah, it's mad.
Well, yeah, we're 20 years old as of March.
Yeah, we are a month away from the company being 10 years old as well. So it's kind of crazy. Been trying to work out how we mark the occasion, if we should or not. I was saying this to someone the other day as well. It also feels like we're now entering those like terrible teenage years where the temptation to rip everything up and start again is there, and like it's a very interesting time.
Crazy. Time flies.
Yeah. How are you all doing? It's May. I must admit it was so quick month for me, and the last week was also that quite quick that I haven't been even looking at anything social wise, content wise, Umbraco wise as well, because that was quite that fast. What about you guys? How this month? How's preparations for summer? Is it a bank holiday as well in UK at the moment? Some school
No,
holiday?
we just had that. It was bank holiday this Monday and earlier in the month. Yeah, it's been a quick month. It's been hot in the UK. Sweaty.
What I've loved for the last 9 months, gloating about how lovely the weather is here, and like my team going, oh, it was warm today. I put my shorts on, 16 degrees, and they're like, 25 today. That's cold. But no, it's actually turned. You've had 34 degrees in the UK.
34 point something or other. Yeah, it was hot.
Exciting.
And our houses can't handle it, so it's just no aircon, no nothing.
Melting territory.
Just heat.
And like all these laptops that are not designed for it either. I saw someone saying both of their screens in the middle of the night, like the fans on the screens turned on, not even in use. It was just they got too hot. And we're like, no, I'm finished.
That's interesting. I've been visiting UK and London last 2 weeks ago, and it was also already hot then. But it's getting hotter, and it's coming here as well to Poland. So I saw some charts about the wave, which is over you at the moment. So yeah, we'll get there soon. But yeah, that's also a hot time ahead of us, and ahead of Umbraco community and everyone else. And we can talk about it. We're here to talk about it. We've mentioned, Adam, your work recently as well. So we will definitely talk about AI too at some point. But yeah, what did we miss? There were a couple of things happening.
I don't know what links you've got, Marcin, but Umbraco 18 release candidate is out now, and there's a whole blog post about it. And well, what's big in 18 is the new, I can't remember what the name of the feature is, but effectively it's blocks stored in a global section. So
reusable content.
Yeah, so it's the thing that we all build every time we build an Umbraco project. Reuse content. 100%. It's in the
100%. And I've debated a bit with Niels Lingso on this, because my argument is a block in Umbraco is content plus settings, or the ability to have the two things. I think this is reusable elements or global elements or something along those lines, because it's just the content bit, but it's good because it brings it more into the era of all the other content in the CMS, where you can have true variants, you can have scheduled publishing and unpublishing, reuse and references and reference tracking. They've done some cool stuff with that. For now, it's just single blocks. So you get like there's a new block picker, where you can pick from the global library. But eventually, and I think 19 is the target, is to be able to have your local block that lives inside of your grid or your block list become a global block, and vice versa. You can switch back and forth, and there'll be some additional tooling around that. So that'd be good. It's something we've longed for. I remember being in the initial like design discussions about the block list editor, and I was like, that needs to be a thing, because I remember the days in Cogworks of building loads of grid-based pages, like with thousands of pages on them, and someone needs to change something, and it's like,
now then the question: are you still using, I would say, the content templates functionality in the CMS? Because I still feel like everyone mentions that, oh, that's nice, I will use it, but then not everyone is using it. So I'm just afraid, and why I'm thinking about it, I'm just afraid that these reusable content blocks might just land somewhere because the images will be ready.
I think we use it a bit. I think there's a middle ground, right? And Niels did a good talk at our Sydney meetup a couple of weeks back. I think he did it at Spark and a few other events lately as well. But where he sort of demonstrated the value of not only is it about having all the places where this one block is used be updatable in a single place, but being able to use a block in multiple different places and maybe even different forms. So you can have it presented in a grid in a wider, bigger, bolder format and in a sidebar somewhere, but it's the same piece of content. That's pretty cool. As you said, Adam, people build this already in the CMS, but this is more the kind of UI polish to make it all hang together properly.
Everyone has their own version, don't they? We use it and always have used it for panels, promo panels, FAQs, those sorts of things that you can share around different places. But we also use it. Obviously, we have settings where we've got taxonomy tags, those sorts of things as well. So you mentioned it's just for content at the minute, but whether that becomes a generic settings section where you can put in those kind of configuration items that you would use in nodes, like I said, like categories, tags, those sorts of things that help taxonomy for searching and things like that.
I think that is the idea eventually. I mean, even the Umbraco tag picker, which if you know, you enter tags and as you save it, then saves them in a database so it can auto-complete as you type future tags. But then there's no UI in the CMS to manage that list of tags. But that's actually, again, something that could live in this library section where you'd have your things that we mentioned, content templates. Actually, content templates live in settings currently, but why? Because they're just content. So it's another thing that should really go in the library section. I don't know if it is, or we'll see. But yeah, plenty of use cases beyond just elements.
It's an RC, so everything can be tested, and also feedback is more than welcome. I do remember that everyone from Umbraco always says that, please test it out. That's for what the RCs are for. So and again, with recent upgrades and updates of Umbraco, it's quite less heavy and less problematic usually to test it out and just bump it up and play around and see if it's breaking things or not. So that's exciting. But you've mentioned version 19 already, and I found one interesting breaking change that is coming there, which brought me some good and bad memories, which is the Bootstrap 3 forms templates. And again, with all the headless capabilities, APIs, delivery APIs, and stuff like that, having this still as a part of the system was probably tough to maintain as well.
Yeah, and I saw this 3 is like 8 or 9 years old at this point. It definitely shouldn't be. But
what version of Bootstrap is right now? Release 5?
5 or 6, I think 5 point something. But even there's another breaking change coming with forms, and they're removing the jQuery validation support as well. So it's only going to be native JavaScript. Again, kind of blast from the past. Who thinks about jQuery anymore? Except there was a new version sort of 3 or 4 months ago as well, jQuery v4. But yeah,
still a lot of good memories with jQuery.
Yeah, I mean, do LLMs even know about jQuery anymore? It's all TypeScript.
No. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But there was also a date picker change as a breaking one from what I saw preparing for this call. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting and also needed breaking changes ahead of us.
18 bumps up the version of UUI to a new major, V2 of UUI, which I think overall brings just some UI polish and also maybe a few things moved around, but largely it's the same thing. And if you're building stuff for the back office, it shouldn't matter, is what I've been told. Like essentially you're compiling against pretty much the same stuff that will still be there. So that's also good. But yeah, that is one of the breaking changes in 18.
Yeah. Before we'll then talk about what we hacked with AI and UUI and other things as well. There were 2 things happening this month which we want to mention. One was, of course, the Swift issue, and there were there were 2 good articles, both from one from Dean and one from Alan about Compose and documentation. I think again, I'm seeing so a lot of documentation recently, which is impressive, and also it's exciting how to write it and generate it using the tools that we have on the market. But yeah, it's easier than ever to have documentation, and tools are, at least from what I see, even more clever in not going the bullshit way with the documentation, and support us really in writing code. And the second thing was Umbrad event, which I missed, unfortunately. I don't know, guys, if you have watched or followed any of the sessions there.
It was like midnight for me, so no, I didn't. But it's good to see this is still going. It's, I think, the 6th or 7th Umbrad, and some different faces presenting as well.
I saw some Zoom link flying around, and I was trying to open it and join it, but then the day has started for me, and I couldn't. But I do know that there is a lot of interesting knowledge there. But maybe if someone watched it and is with us here on YouTube, can share more about this context. So yeah, and then AI. And Callum, you started one of interesting conversations on LinkedIn recently.
Yeah.
About AI, money, and tokens, which is quite common these days amongst the discussions that we held across the teams. Are you surprised with these responses so far?
I was more so, I mean, my poll was not particularly scientific, let's say. It'd be nicer if I could have had 10 options that are a bit more granular, but LinkedIn only lets you 4. I'm assuming that this result of less than 50 means someone is paying for it. Someone's not answered the poll if they're paying 0, would be my hope.
Yeah, exactly.
I assumed about half of people responding would be paying, or a decent chunk of people would be paying, for a basic level plan. The thing that I think shocked me more was the above $100 to $500 one. Like there will be people that pay stupid money each month, and people who pay a bit more. I think it's interesting. The reason I raised this was it's a debate I've been having internally, and we've been trying to settle on a single or a set of AI tools that we as a team use. And I've been looking at like what team plans are out there, because some of these GitHub Copilot or Claude, they offer a team plan that brings various pros and cons versus individual plans. Some of them is around like being able to roll out global skills and like a base prompt across everyone's system. That's quite good. The other is about collaboration tools in GitHub. And so I've been trying to sort of work out how much we justify spending, because frankly, nowadays it is entirely possible with Opus 4.7 or 4.8 actually came out yesterday. So yeah. Opus 4.8 now, let's say, which has a near 70% accuracy score on code generation. Crazy. Someone could run a digital agency in their bedroom just using
on autopilot.
I am doing that already.
Are you? Amazing.
I'm in my bedroom now. But yeah, it's tricky. I mean, like, I don't know, there was the report the other day or last week that Uber have blown their whole token budget in 3 months for the year. They've got like a multi-million-pound budget, and they've already blown it because of the increase in token costs. Or obviously Anthropic and OpenAI are now putting the squeeze on. It's not free anymore. It's the free lunch is now finished. The buffet is closed. It's now ramping up the costs. Now I wrote an article a month or so ago on it. So yeah, the $200 a month. I think what they'll do is probably $150, $200 a month for individuals. For organizations, that's gone.
Yeah.
Even without Claude subscriptions, you get a certain amount per month, but you burn that. Even just having not even coding, just using Claude for a bit of research or doing some report research and things like that, you can blow your budget in 3 or 4 Opus queries, and then you get stuck, and it says, right, you need to upgrade and pay some more to get some more tokens and stuff. So you can see it happen.
As I understand it, for the Claude plans, they have like Claude Pro, and then they've got Max 5x and Max 100x or 200x or something.
Yeah.
And the kind of business plan is Pro times 1.25. So it's a bit more than Pro, but it's not the full Max plans. And there isn't an option to just pay for your overage, I think, or maybe there is. So that is a bit rough, and people keep getting rate limited and throttled. And Claude in particular, or the Opus model class in particular, is very token hungry, is my understanding. And well, GitHub is rolling out on Monday a change to their pricing. They used to have a thing called premium requests, where every request to every LLM was effectively treated equally, or to a top class of LLMs treated equally, which wasn't representative of the underlying cost they were paying for the API calls. And just to put into context, if you call GPT-5 Mini, that's in their new system, they're going to go to a points-based system, effectively, or a credit system. A call to GPT-5 Mini is 1 credit. A call to the Opus 4.6 model is 17x credits. So it's 17 times more hungry than calling the Mini model. And that I think puts into some scale, actually, the cost of running those models. The other thing, and Adam, you've done some stuff on this that I want to talk to you about, but is people using Opus 4.7 for everything. And actually, that's a terrible idea, because that's a surefire way to, like, if you wanted to go and search the web for something for you that you could have done with Google, that's like throwing money at the wind. But if you use one of the mini models or something, actually, they're a lot more efficient. They will do that sort of task, like inference type thing, super easily. So yeah, people are sort of blindly just saying, "Oh, let's all do everything." And I think that's where some of the AI burn has come from as well.
Yeah, but it's difficult. It's difficult to know which model to use, because you don't really sit there and go, right, my next prompt is going to be super simple, therefore let's use Haiku. Or I think this is going to be a medium level prompt, let's use Sonnet. Or this one's going to be really complex. So because now even in 4.8, I noticed, because I was playing with it this morning, they've got 4 or 5 different levels. They've got low, medium, high, extra high, and oh my god, you're going to blow everything in one query, right?
And also how much we can trust the auto selection, right?
So I've learned auto selection is not what you think. It's not trying to do the best thing. It's balancing capacity across
probably.
It's not in their interest, is it, to make you use less tokens? So you need to keep that in mind. They're going to make you burn as many as possible, to a certain extent.
But that's exactly the way to go right now. It's not only about the consumption of tokens, it's optimization of usage at the moment. And yeah, I've even had two recent months where I was upping my cap of tokens across the tools, because I reached the end of my capacity of the tokens. So I thought it will never hit me, but but it hit it sooner than later I anticipated. So it's interesting to see that. And again, local models, public models, local machines running somewhere in the basement, stuff like that. This
is the huge debate I'm having. Do you say, right, over the course of the next 2 years, we're going to spend an extra $2,000, pounds, whatever, on better machines so people can run local models, but in 2 years' time, those are obsolete and outdated, and the next class of models can't run. In fact, not even 2 years. Give it 3 to 4 months. Like it'll happen too quickly. So you're stuck paying for cloud inference and cloud-based hosting of models. But then it's like, where do we draw the line? At some point, I would say spending £500 a month per developer should see some kind of return. If you see a 10% return on that person's productivity by your agency day rates, you should have made money. So that's all good. But if you jump up another multiple, let's say you do 2,500, you're probably going to struggle to see the return on that kind of investment unless your sales pipeline is just nuts and you've got like work coming out of your ears, and you're sort of, I don't know if that's very well tailored to the kind of work we're doing in Umbraco world and agencies do either. But then equally, it's like, well, how low can you go? Do you still gain the same 10% efficiency return by spending $100 or $50? And where does it sit? Do we say, actually, we'll run an agency-wide cluster with our own model on it, with our own cluster with models on it, and pay for that compute ourselves and not have someone not pay someone for hosting? I don't know.
Yeah, it's really
core and all that stuff.
At the minute. Yeah, well, there's so many different factors in all of that. It's not just, models will get smaller, compute will become less, because people, like you've said, they won't want to upgrade huge machines constantly and need bigger and bigger and bigger machines. what is happening is there's smaller models, smaller open source models coming out that I've seen. Obviously, there's DeepSeek and things like that, but there's obviously a Llama, Quen, all these other models that are there, which you can use on Hugging Face and places like that as well, and open code. So I think personally, the smaller models will become less intensive. Therefore, obviously, if you can use a specific coding model, the problem is obviously you're trying to use Opus or something like that, which has got everything in it, and it's huge. You don't need a huge model. You can use smaller specific models for certain tasks that are just trained on the stuff you need to do for that task. Therefore, it's smaller, and just use more of those specialized models within your process. So if you have a set of agents, which is kind of what I built internally for us, was a set of agents talking to each other, which pass work off between each other. And you can have one totally different model on one bit of the workflow to the next one, and change the models and change the rates and change the specific things that they're doing based on the task. So the first one might just be a research agent, which goes off and searches the internet and does some stuff. You just needed to do some grunt work. It doesn't need to be a really specialized model. You just needed to go and get stuff, so you can use a really low Haiku or a Sonnet or something, or a local model. But then when you get through to I need you to analyze this and actually write the big report, that's where you need the big one to come in and have more training in there. So it's breaking up those different steps with the right models at the right times. And that's just, I guess, trial and error. And just figuring out which ones give you the best results, really.
Yeah. That's exactly the kind of mental model I've been trying to juggle. And there's tools like, is it OpenRouter that lets you sort of
OpenRouter decide
different backend models as well, which is an interesting idea. But you're effectively just paying the API cost for each of those.
Yeah, definitely. And there's there's online ones as well where you can just pay per compute as well, which have all the local models. So Deep Infra is one I've been using, which is, I guess, similar to the one you just mentioned, where you just pay per token. I tried it with Quen in one of the agents I've got, and it works pretty well. It's not as quick as Opus, but it does the job really well, and it's like a fraction of the cost of using Anthropic. So I think personally, that more of these models will come out. Obviously, the big enterprises will stick with Anthropics and things like that, but I think smaller shops and hobbyists will use these newer, smaller open source models, and they'll grow, and the costs will come down, and equipment costs will come down. Like, I think Chrome have sneakily put a full model on your computer now, haven't they? They've made you download a 4 GB model in Chrome now. So local models are becoming good enough to run on everyone's computer via Chrome. So, and on your phone, you'll have a local model on your phone soon. So it's.
I mean, Apple gets shilled for their poor quality AI assistant quite a lot, but they do actually, and have since Apple Intelligence in iOS 16, they've shipped a fully local large language model that's something like 16 billion parameters or something. It's a decent model, and someone was able to hook that up to a little app and make a kind of ChatGPT-esque thing. And for your basic question and answer tool calling type stuff, it works fantastically. So just that's exact proof of what you're saying, Adam. Like everyone's devices for a number of years. If you bought a device in the last 5 years, it's got a chip in there capable of, and in some cases designed to run these sorts of workloads. Not the frontier model, of course, but like, also, does it matter? Because the jumps we're seeing now ultimately are pretty incremental. This has been my thought when we've been looking at, do we wed ourselves to one provider? I don't think it matters. I literally don't think it matters anymore. Like,
I was going to say that this routing exercise will be probably the best to have, because the worst thing that can happen, and again, we were not talking that much about the poor quality of Google search results, for example, right? When we were having some kind of results. And right now, what I observed, at least amongst myself and my teammates, it was like there's nothing worse than seeing something like your credits are run away, or you can't get results. So it will be more like, okay, fallback models, or information that do you really want to get this result and stuff like that. And then the decision needs to happen. Do we want to pay more for this, or is it enough to limit people with super skills at specific levels and stuff like that? So, and we will then work as we used to. If we'll have
the other side of all this, which is really worth thinking about, is the data sovereignty side, which I'm really interested in as well. So everything we do now, if you do via OpenAI or Anthropic, even Claude, using coding models and stuff like that, but also obviously clearly if you're an agency, you're doing client work. So you're building stuff, and you're hammering everything stuff through Anthropic, you're losing all of your data. I know it's technically enterprise secured and whatever, but you're still giving your data to a big enterprise company.
Yeah.
So from a data sovereignty perspective, having local models, using your own kit, being within your own firewalls, and particularly for, we do a lot of stuff in regulated industries, so financial services, law, financial, accountants, those sorts of organizations, health care. You probably don't want to be giving your data to the big corporates and the big enterprises. And I've seen it actually the last couple of days. Some of the big law firms are starting to build. There's a couple of law AI companies out there who I can't remember what they call, Legora, is it, or something like that. But a couple of the big law firms are now saying, well, we don't want to use them. We're going to actually build all of our own infrastructure. And there's an open source one called Mike OSS, which I've been looking at, which is basically an open source version of the big law firms, but you can just download it, have basically a local law firm running on your computer, which keeps all of your contracts private, all of your client stuff private, everything private. So I think that particularly with the way the world is at the minute, data sovereignty and the way the EU is going and pushing back on the big, the big corporates, we know where they all are from. But retaining your data as a company, as an agency, and as an end client is probably more important than ever. So local models and having them open source and on your own kit is probably really, really worth looking at over the next 6 to 12 months.
We know where they are and know who they are, but actually we don't always, because there's this big scramble for compute for all of these big companies. And I know that just last week or the week before, Anthropic signed a deal to basically take over the entire XAI, one of their data centers, one of their clusters. So Elon Musk's got his fingers in the Anthropic pie now, and Amazon is hosting some of it, Microsoft hosting some of it, Oracle's scrambling to build compute so that they can host some of OpenAI's workloads. Like, there's going to become a point where they start turning to far less desirable companies to power some of this infrastructure. And I think this is why they've not given any guarantees over data sovereignty, unless you're an enterprise. Because I think unless you go for a full enterprise plan, they will not give you like a data residency guarantee. It's all US supposedly. It's a great.
Have you guys seen Umbraco did something like this, which I noticed this week, about asking for permission to process the data through the AI models when we are chatting on the support chats, for example. So that was quite new for me, because again, I know that we are all crazy and excited and doing things, copying, pasting, generating, and never thinking too much about where the data are going to, or not never, but not enough. I agree, and it was quite asked up front, right? Do you agree that this question or this information will be processed through the AI models? We probably, and what it brought me the memories about the cookie messages across the whole web. Imagine this right now, having
hands on it
as yet another model window asking if it's okay to go through AI with whatever you're doing on this website or something like that. That's interesting, but at the same time, that's completely understandable. And I think that no one wants to be again, not no one, I'm generalizing, but a lot of people don't want to give away whatever they're having or processing. So those local closed sourced processing models should be probably a destination to go. But we'll see. I'm interested about it, but I have seen this recently on Umbraco's chat. So kudos for being in front of that and yeah, raising awareness about this probably among many people.
So part of that from the agents that I built. So where I started vibe coding, I guess I've been kind of a couple of years. I've been playing about with it, 18 months, 2 years. The agents that I created, I wanted to be agnostic. They weren't kind of model specific, so they weren't Claude ones. And I did loads of playing about and loads of kind of fiddling with stuff. And I'm in no way an expert. This is just stuff that I've kind of fiddled with and played, but keeping them agnostic, keeping the models agnostic, so you can keep it yourself. So once you kind of get your head around, which I didn't really get at the beginning, but once you get your head around the fact that an agent is basically stupid, every time you start to talk to it, it knows nothing. And all it is a set of markdown files and YAML files. And that's all it is. So it has some instructions. And then it has some other information that tell it what to do next, tell it what to expect from the agent before and things like that. Once you kind of figure that out, they become a lot easier to understand. And basically, because they're stupid, you need to give them some memory. So you save the memory in some markdown files. So the agent run thing that I built, I built it as an internal Cogworks thing to start with. It wasn't an Umbraco package. I built it in just vibe coding. It's a next application, TypeScript, whatever. And the reason I wrote it is because I started. I don't know if you've heard of BMAD, but spec-driven development. There's a few frameworks out there. BMAD's one of them, and I've been using that for probably a year now. And the agents in there are really good, and they're really conversational, and you fire it up and you have a chat with it. But they don't work in a browser. Right. And I thought, well, these agents are really useful, but you can only use them in VS Code or whatever you choose to use. But to get a non-technical person to use them, VS Code, even though it's fairly easy to use, it's still a bit kind of codey. So it is a bit of a barrier. So I thought, well, can I get these agents to work in a browser? So I started to research it, and I built a kind of an agent runner, a Next.js agent runner, where you can put the agents in as blocks and go, right, agent 1 does its stuff. You can have a conversation with it. It does its stuff. It saves everything in a markdown file as its memory, which then when you fire up agent 2, it knows, okay, I need to get that bit of memory from agent number 1. Now I need to do my task. And then you have a conversation with it and it does its task. And then agent 3 does it and whatever. And you can just basically make these agents to do whatever you want it to do. But I wanted it to make sure that they were agnostic, so any agent could use any model and any version of a model to prevent you being locked into a particular platform. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of where my agent stuff came from. And it worked really well. Then I thought, oh, surely we can write something in Umbraco that does this, because I've got these agents doing stuff for us internally. And I did it as more of a proof of concept, because I've never really built an Umbraco package before. I'm not really a developer.
You always was a developer.
Well, I was a front-end developer when one-pixel spaces were trendy back in the early 90s. But
do you have some use case examples? You've mentioned that you have some of that running for a while, and maybe we can use this time to demo it, because again, I completely understood the point since you raised it, that it is solving a lot of problems for people who are not tech heavy to have this agents running. And there of course there is a lot of tools already in the web that are doing this behind the UI. But yeah, I think use cases are still something what probably a lot of people are not understanding fully for what they can gather that.
I'm not going to promise. I'm not going to promise these are going to work, because
This is what I love about an AI demo. It's so unpredictable as well, because model could just decide, this time, not doing that.
Which
demo AI got.
1 minute, can I present? Share screen.
Share screen. I'll probably remove mine.
Entire screen. Screen 2. Is that sharing anything?
No.
No.
Browser can't access your stream. Try capturing a different screen to see if this continues. What does that mean?
Never heard that before.
Yeah.
Mm,
And they are changing UI all the time.
Yeah. Whilst Adam works that out, I was going to say as well, I think the thing that really intrigued me about the agent run package was Umbraco AI integrations, the stuff they have out the box, and also the stuff that people have been building is very much like one and done. So it's do a task, get a result, be finished. Whereas this is like, yeah, as you said, Adam, chaining multiple tasks and acting upon that result, and it's not something that I think we've seen done in Umbraco. So yeah.
Is it under me? I hear a weird.
Does that Adam's audio? Yeah, Adam's playing the drums according to his mic.
We can't hear you, Adam, now.
We can't hear you.
Nope. I don't know if it's about the scene or the upload speed or something like that, but
no, it's not. It's just still drums. Quite the tune, yes, Liam. I agree.
Yeah, that's a nice beat. DJ Shallcross back again as well. That's so many things happening again. Not intentional DJing though.
We've lost your audio completely, but we can see you and see the screen. I don't know if it's easier to swap the mic to something. Laptop mic
settings. But interesting that we have a power right now to edit mic settings for Adam.
No, but do we?
Yeah, we do have, but we can't select the microphone.
You can't select the microphone. That's good. That would be incredibly questionable security.
Probably you're back again, Adam.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you see us? Can you see
white empty screen? We can see.
Screen,
it's loading now. Yep, all good.
Right. Okay. It's probably, hopefully, will work. Can you see like an agent workflow thing going on?
Yep.
Okay, fine. Cool. So yeah, so this one specifically, in the package itself, you can create the. I won't show you VS Code because it'll probably kill my computer. But basically, as I said, it's kind of a set of in here we've got 3 agents. These agents are just made up of YAML files. So in the back office, you can start it. You can basically start conversation and talking with and conversing with them. So this one here is a.
Would you be able to zoom the browser window a little bit so people can see a bit more?
Not better.
That's great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, so this one's an Umbraco content audit. So this is just the clean starter kit. So so you can say this one is specifically set up for this. Obviously, you can make the agents do anything you want. This one is so. Let's do SEO audit of the blog section. So this is just connected to Anthropic. Sonnet, I think, at the minute, but this is using the standard AI, so the Umbraco AI connectivity in the background. So it's running off of the standard Umbraco stuff. I have created all my own tools in here, so I think some of it's coming from Umbraco actually. So list content. So what this is doing basically, the first one, as I mentioned before, the agents do different things. So we've got one agent that does content scanner. The next one is the quality analyzer. The next one generates the report. So each one of these could use a different model. So it could be a small model, complex model, if you wanted it to be. So what this is obviously going now at the minute, it's going off to the content tree. It's found that there's 6 articles, so it's gone in there, it knows, it's gone to the tree, found what it thinks is blogs, gone to get the blogs. Now it's going through scanning them. What I should have done is probably not done all of them, but obviously there's only 6 articles in the starter kit, so it'll go through. But eventually, I won't sit there and bore you watching that. eventually, hopefully, when it finishes, you can go through each step, and you get these artifacts. So these are basically the memory stuff that it passes between each agent. So the content inventory was the first one that I just kicked off on that one. So it goes through, looks at the content, and then you get the scan results and the quality scores. And eventually, when you've got through all three agents, you get to the actual report at the end of it. So this is one I did earlier. So overall health of the sea, tells you need to add images, gives you the summary. So all of this is obviously, you program this into the agent, you tell it what format you want the report to be in, you tell it what it should be looking for. This is just particularly for a content audit. You could obviously do another one for content generation. So one other idea I had was once a week, it goes into your blog section, looks at the kind of articles that you've written, analyzes the content of them, and then goes off, finds news articles for the last week out in the internet, looks at what's trending, and then comes back and suggests 10 things that you should write this week. So you can start to run those sorts of things in the back office, back office as well. But yeah, so all this is using is initially in here is using the standard Umbraco connectors. So you've got
That's the node in the CMS.
Yeah, and I might show another one actually, which I was playing with recently.
Quick question, sorry, Adam, on the agent run thing. So the agents are defined in a YAML file, I'm assuming, with your sort of the model you wish to use, plus base prompts or some kind of instruction for the agent.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. So there's a whole set. It's called sidecar stuff. So there's memory, there's instructions, there's persona, there's different things which you can kind of program it to be.
Nice.
So the other one I was playing with, if I can get that one working. So using all of the tools in the background. So I've written another one which I'm going to launch over the next couple of weeks, which is agent memory. So taking the stuff that I've just said about YAML files, in Umbraco now, there's Umbraco Search, Umbraco obviously Copilot, Umbraco AI, Umbraco Agent, and there's loads of stuff that's been released like Hugging Face connectors and obviously the Anthropic connectors and things like that. So taking my agent memory, which is just the markdown files, a step further, using what's out of the box with Umbraco. I've created agent memory now. So when you create agents using Umbraco agents, and then you can plug those into the Copilot interface. It saves the memory and allows you to comment and give feedback on the memory as well. So yeah, I can't. It's not loading typically.
That's fine. So that would be like you have an agent, like an agentic flow run. You could then say, oh, like persist this, keep this result for later, and then you could go do something in the Umbraco Copilot and be like, that thing. Can we do something with the result of that?
Yeah, basically. So yeah, having an agent that does a content audit using the brand tone of voice, which is what I would show you if my VS Code would work. So basically, in Umbraco, you can now have the profiles, which you can have tone of voice, which you could set up a whole tone of voice for your whole website. So using that, an agent that uses the tone of voice to go and inspect a page and scan it and say, yes, that matches your tone of voice. And then it gives you the feedback. But then you can say, actually, that feedback's not useful, or you've got that bit wrong. And then the next time it does it, it uses the memory that you've just given it.
Nice.
So the way I've done it is it stores the agent, it stores your feedback in the agent, in the Umbraco search vector store.
Cool.
And then it uses that as the training for it.
I've noticed models are doing this recently as well. I haven't paid attention for that one recently, maybe, or it was something new introduced, that they also saved a lot of context and a lot of dumps of the previous findings to hopefully save our tokens and not
Yeah.
not look for this again. But yeah, that seems to be like a controlled process of data processing between agents, even though, right? So that's a state introduced into inter-agentic conversations, which seems to be really cool and interesting, especially if the models will, for example, incrementally improve the state, or it can be even source control state or something what can be run on schedule and revisited after. Like a content audit, as you've mentioned, for example, like regular content audits based on the previous findings and reports results with score increases or decreases. Seems like a really nice use case for that one, for example.
Yeah. So the other one I built recently was to help with. I hope I'm showing the right screen.
Yep.
To help with, well, whilst my other agent memory gets working, this one is more about LLMs.txt. So this one does a few things. So basically, to get websites indexing in LLMs, at the minute they obviously trawl your site, and they have to decipher all of the HTML and get rid of the navigation and the footer and stuff just to get to the content of your site. So what I've built is a package that hopefully, when it works, gives you native markdown version of every page in your site, and it also gives you the LLMs.txt as well, and it gives you LLMs-full.txt, which is like all of the content of your site. But that kind of works for every page, so you can go to any page on your site and and get that. In the back office as well, it does stuff like checks your robots.txt. For this won't work because I'm on localhost, but basically there's an online file that gets updated that says what should and shouldn't be allowed for LLM. So it'll tell you here what's blocked, what you need to unblock to make sure that that things can work. There's a configuration area as well, which allows you to add and exclude content types and doc types from the LLMs.txt. There's another little dashboard which gives you kind of an analytics dashboard of who's been visiting or what's been visiting your site from an LLM perspective. It tells you if it's a human, an unknown. It tells you which LLM's been visiting as well. So so it does all of those things in the background. But yeah, the interesting bit was this really. So every page strips out all of the HTML and just gives you the markdown version, which hopefully
that's essentially what it's doing. It's like stripping all of the markup, getting the content, and then turning that into markdown. So
yeah, basically. And also there's a little thing, a snippet which you can put in. The actual HTML. I think I've added it in here. Have I got it in? I think I've not put it in this one. But it basically just says if you're an LLM, it hits the. It's got a little bit in here that says go and visit the markdown version of this page. So hopefully when the LLM gets to here, it hits it and then kind of diverts to the right place. So I don't think I put it in this test version.
Nice. I mean, this seems like the kind of thing that people would just, install on a site and then they have to think about it again, type thing, which is great.
Hopefully, let me just see if VS Code has decided to.
And the stats that you have there, is that based on who's hitting the pages? Like every time it uses a page, it's going to record a line in a database table somewhere to say this user agent or something like is browsed. Yeah,
basically. So that's kind of what it does. So hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's not processor intensive. It does. I did put some caching and stuff in there. Well, I guess. Well, the problem is not the problem. I'm vibe coding stuff, and I think I know what's happening in the background. So I need to ask Imran or some developers, which I'm trying to get feedback from it just to make sure that it's working from the community, just to see what is working. But what I've been doing is using Anthropic and Codex at the same time to kind of cross-reference and check each other, which I find works quite well.
Interesting idea.
Yeah,
I was going to say take a different LLM or something and throw the source at it and say how could you optimize this and see what it.
That's what I'm doing as well recently.
What the BMAD process works. I won't get to the whole BMAD process, but it's amazing. There's a lot of work up front, and it probably burns more tokens than necessary. But the level of documentation, thinking, and stuff it makes you do before you start just diving in and vibe coding. But the agents it gives you an analyst, it gives you an architect, it gives you the developer. Obviously, as part of the developer, you get a developer, a code reviewer, you get a tech writer, you get all of those kind of built, and then you can make your own agents, is where kind of my agent runner thing came from. But using that to do everything that I'm doing, the level of documentation you get, because you're forced to get it, so all of the stories, all of the epics, all of the functional requirements, the non-functional requirements, the technical documentation afterwards, all of that stuff. It's kind of amazing. I think I've got my final thing just working. 1 second.
If you can reshare the screen, because it got removed from the scene, and I can't add it. Was it Spotify recently who mentioned that 80 or 90% of their releases daily are done by agents at the moment? So it's like, again, ship it, and then some fixes, pull requests or ideas or optimization can be also done by again, models supported by people.
So sorry, can you see Anthropic OpenAI? Yeah, okay, cool.
Yes.
Fine, so this is the agent memory one. So just to run through, so we've got standard Umbraco AI connections, and then standard profiles. So we've got Anthropic and then OpenAI embedding, which the vector search will use. And then we've got contexts. So this is just a fake brand I've made up, which has got a brand voice. So this is all out of the box Umbraco AI stuff. And the boxes appear. There's brand stuff in there. You can't see it. And then there's the agent. So we've got brand voice auditor, which has the prompt in there, which tells it what it is eventually. And you give this access to Copilot. Man, my computer's slow when I'm showing my screen. So you can see it's using all of the out-of-the-box stuff. So in the background, it's got Umbraco vector search package installed as well. So when you go to, there you go, so the prompt is in there. You're a brand voice auditor, so that's in there. So if I just go to page, hopefully this will work. Blog. Just put one of these. And let's fire up Copilot. So review this page. If I pick that one. So what this is doing basically is going off. It's using all of the stuff I've set up in Umbraco native stuff. So it's getting the agent knows to look at the brand tone of voice and things like that. Hopefully it'll work. But what it'll do is it will come back. There we go. So it's going off. It's looking at this page because it knows.
Nice.
So it's doing this and it's looking and it's found all the issues. But what you can do, what I've set up in here, so in the AI section, I've got this memory learning wall. So this is kind of what the packaging is I've built. So you can see the recent runs. So this is the one that I've just done. And you can say this using true, and fill it in, saying whatever, and you can submit the feedback. What that does, it stores it in the Umbraco vector store, the Umbraco search vector store. So when you go back and do another prompt, it takes its feedback memory into account every time. So every time you add feedback in here, when you go back to Copilot and run the review on another page, it should it should have a little message at the top saying memory used this time. Probably won't work.
So the idea of the memory thing is it's going to feed both the original result and your feedback in.
Yeah, so it looks at this. So it basically just remembers and it learns and gets better every time. That's the point. So it understands what it's looking for and what it's not looking for. So you can train it basically. So it's basically training the agents to be better rather than it just running fresh every time. It has some kind of context of what it did on the previous run. It remembers it, takes it into account, and then does it again.
Applying 2 lessons from
previous.
There
we go. So there you go. Applying 2 lessons. Yeah, applying 2 lessons from previous memory. So what that's done is it's intercepted it. It's gone to the vector store. Has it got any memory for this particular agent? Yes. Brings it back in. Combines that in the prompt with what you've just asked it to do, and then your brand score would be different because it takes into account what you've told it in the memory as well as what's in the editorial stuff. So, but that's using all of the stuff. Most of it, 80% of it, is just out of the box Umbraco stuff. The bit I just added in is the agent memory bit and connecting kind of the bits together. You can see it does the different voices here, and you can give more feedback here.
Very cool.
So yeah,
Really cool.
it's all cool stuff with AI and using all the bits. And I must say, just as a side note, all the stuff that Umbraco are doing around AI, the plugins, the way they put it together, Matt and everyone over there doing an amazing job with all of this stuff. It's really well put together. Really easy to use, and it's so flexible with what you can do with it.
We've discussed on a number of episodes. We had Matt on last month. Discussed it a whole bunch, but big fans of the approach as far as like, it feels very Umbraco, doesn't it? It's pluggable but like as a first-class citizen, and open, and you can swap things out with ease. And I think this is probably the first big complex set of packages we've seen built against the Open Umbraco abstraction, Umbraco AI abstraction. So that's great to actually see someone using it in that way as well, because I think all along that's what Matt has said. Like, we see this as a toolkit rather than you're going to build the whole house. Like you can build your own stuff in there. So and the thing for me, just the vibe Cody bit. I'm not, as I said earlier, I'm not a developer, but and what I did in the London meetup a couple of weeks ago, where I built an Umbraco Forms plugin which intercepts spammy messages. So it intercepts the message, looks at the message, throws it up to an LLM, gives it a score. Does it look spammy? Yes. It puts it into another bucket. And if it isn't spammy, it puts it through to Umbraco Forms properly. But the ability to build that, have an idea, or someone else has an idea, you go, okay, give it a go, proof of concept, throw it. I wasn't using Beamer for that specifically. I just used Claude Code out of the box, did the bit of planning, built it, got it working. I now have a working product in Umbraco with a dashboard connected to Umbraco Forms in native Umbraco in 2 hours. At a hackathon. I mean, imagine trying to do that without using 3 developers 2 years ago, having a front end that's trying to figure it out, the back end, database architect, all of that stuff. Yeah, it's just opened my mind to the stuff you can do yourself, even if it's not production ready. It's just problem solving and coming up with solutions. Was this using the back office skills? Like the Claude skills that they've released, or it's just native?
No, it's just native Claude Code. I didn't use any skills.
Wow, cool. So I'm on the AI, the Umbraco and AI team, And our focus is on making that experience as good as possible, both guiding people to get a good solution quicker, but also guiding people towards best practices or what's considered good practices. Because frankly, if we look at the state of LLMs, Python and those sorts of things, they've got a huge corpus of training data, but C# code, far less. And then Umbraco is a niche within a niche. So actually being able to understand the APIs properly and do things the right way is really tough. So that's our focus. Like, how can we make skills, better tooling, all of that sort of stuff, and put that in. But it's great to hear that actually people are still able to get a really good result from the current class of models without needing to change too much.
I mean, I must say, it's taught me so much. I mean, I've never built an Umbraco package, never really built anything in Umbraco for years, really, to be honest, and never really done a back office thing. It's all been, I know my way around .NET application. I can't write from scratch, but I can figure it out and I know what's happening. But the ability that I've had over the last 6 to 9 months, from zero, really, from the agent run thing was the first thing I did in Umbraco, from just using BMAD to go, right, I've got this idea, go off and research how to do it in Umbraco. It comes back, the architect, you need to do all of these things, this is how to do it. And then you get all of that into the developer, and the developer goes up and does it. And I know kind of enough about development and databases and security and architectures and how things hang together to know when it's going off rails or when it's just going off on a tangent to say, stop, let's start again. But from zero knowledge of writing an Umbraco package to actually launching one on the marketplace, and it helped me launch it on the marketplace. So I didn't know anything about NuGet. I had to get a NuGet API and do all of that stuff, but it helped me with all that, just kind of having a conversation with it. So got the NuGet key, registered it, waited for the marketplace to actually accept it, and then doing new pushes to NuGet and watching it also being accepted on the market, all of that. I just did it via an LLM, no code involved whatsoever.
Yeah,
myself. It's been, and I'm on my third package now in 6 weeks, and I've not done one for 20 years. I've been using Umbraco for 20 years, 18 years, and I've built 3 packages in the last 2 months. So,
yeah. That's why we should probably look all forward to again the events, the share outs, the recognition, and again the abilities that people brings, like with or without technical knowledge. It's like prototyping is such easier now. It's like I have this idea, and this idea can be transitioned to the team, company, partner, whatever, whoever, to just materialize further, or even you can release the MVP of, which is truly right now not an MVP. It's usually a functional product already, but just worth optimizations. Easier. And we have a lot of opportunities ahead of us to learn from other people. So it's quite exciting.
I would add that you do need some technical knowledge, because I have seen a couple.
Not pay too much for tokens as well.
Well, I have seen a couple of projects in Cursor, and I've run it through. I've downloaded the Cursor project, run it through BMAD Analyst or Architect, and the amount of security holes, dead ends in code, unused database tables and stuff that it's found in the report analyzing what Cursor has written is eye-wateringly bad. So I'd imagine there's going to be an awful lot of very insecure Cursor projects out there that aren't written by people who have at least some technical knowledge.
There's that famous story, I don't know how true it is, of a guy that said, I vibe coded an app, it's been up for 36 hours, it's been hacked 1 million times, please someone help me. It's like, of course, that will happen. And this is why I still truly believe that whilst the role that we as developers and agencies play will change, there's always going to be a place for that
Oh
role.
yeah, definitely.
That's
just from security and architecture and performance and database performance and how to optimize everything, how to optimize the front end to work properly, accessibility, all those sorts of things. There's so many things to take into account. And all these people who say, I vibe coded Salesforce in 10 minutes, I'm going to cancel my Salesforce subscription.
Sure.
What about support? What about the
Yeah.
roadmap? What about new features? What about when someone it dies at 2 a.m? Where's your support help desk? All of that stuff is stuff that it's not seen, but it's not.
Yeah, SaaS
It's not
is all of
there
that
for a reason.
Structure, the ongoing maintenance, the security patching that you're getting for $20 a month. Which
I mean, I've probably got 20 or 30 vibe coded, half finished products in my documents folder on my laptop that I've started and kind of seen the next shiny thing and forgotten about, and never finished. So it's just one of those things. You're never going to.
That's the danger now. That's the danger now. But that also wraps the things that the tools like this were built to make us do a better work or do less work. But in reality, most of us are doing even more work now because it is possible to do more work and different work, different by default. And that's interesting. Let's see.
The most thing I would say, I've had so much fun doing it. I think it's inspired me over the last 18 months, 2 years to get back into just being more, I guess, more into the Umbraco community as well, because I've kind of been I was very much involved in it to start with, was on the sidelines for a while, but the impetus it's given me just building these packages and seeing what we can now do with the Umbraco back office and the Umbraco AI and the tooling around it has kind of inspired me and made me a lot more energetic, I guess, than I have been for a long time.
I've spent a fair bit of time speaking with Andy Everdale in the last few weeks as part of the Umbraco AI team, and Paul wrote an article about it. Marcin, I think we might have a link, or we can just throw it down in the description. But basically, we've been using again to define what's a good practice and how should we educate people how to do things. And we join calls, and we don't write any code. We don't even open an IDE. We join calls. We invite a note taker, and we just talk for an hour about what we want. Feed the transcript into Claude and say, give us the synopsis, or turn this into an AI skill or something. It just does it, and with a surprising amount of accuracy. It's not perfect, but for someone that hates writing documentation and that sort of thing, that's completely opened my eyes. So also, I think I've tried to stay quite on the pulse of like technology changes and stuff, and I'm still quite active in building things. The thing that's exciting me more is all the stuff I hate and how other people are using AI to automate that out. And that again inspired me. It's like, oh, okay, so I can actually write documentation because I don't have to do it myself type thing. It's two sides of the same coin, right? Adam is saying, oh, the code thing is a bit you struggle with, but it can help you. You have a really clear idea of what you want to achieve, and it gives you the sort of excitement. You see your results come to life. Amazing for me.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's
the grunt work.
It's definitely a changing world, and it's difficult to keep up. But if you try not to keep up and just the way I've tried to figure out is understanding the basics of it. So I've built a few RAG applications. I've built a few vision applications just because I can now. One that you take a photo and get it to count the images and things, the objects in it and things like that. But it's understanding how a RAG architecture works, how chatbots work, how embeddings work when you push up to a vector store. Because once you figure those things out, you kind of understand how all of the other things work. You understand a bit how Claude Code works and how Anthropic works and how OpenAI works and things like that. Because then you can start looking at smaller models and going, oh, actually, I understand how that one works now because I've seen it over here. And I know a RAG architecture is grabbing loads of things, throwing it into a vector store, and then using it. So things like NA10, where you can actually glue things together and see things work and give you a bit of visualization of how things work as well.
Cool. So where are you going to share or learn from the knowledge on the next set of events ahead of us? It's at PAC June, and we were talking about the Codegarden as well ahead of us. So probably more of Umbraco announcements and interesting things that people will share or talk about. And anything else on your agenda, guys? Anything outside of the Umbraco events calendar that you're attending to or planning to visit?
I've done stuff this week, events-wise, but Codegarden's the big one. I'm flying, a week today. I'll be in London already, so that's exciting. And then, I'm looking forward to Codegarden. They're I said before we started, they're getting their money's worth from me. I'm doing a workshop, a talk, and an umbraCoffee episode. But equally, there's a load of talks I'm really excited about. seeing on the agenda as well. So I think it will be a good couple of days, and I've got all kinds of stuff coming up. Lots of AI at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Adam?
Yeah, I haven't got many for me. To be honest, Codegarden, like I said earlier, 95% going. I just need to book a flight and
It's gone up 5%. You were 90% earlier. So
90 before we started.
Oh yeah, I was 90.
Decreased now. It decreased now.
Yeah, so a flight and an eye-wateringly expensive room in Copenhagen. But I've not got nothing else coming up. It's summertime, so things.
Plenty of meetups, and I think there's no more AI hackathons planned for the next little while, because you've done a few, haven't you? This is a Cardiff one. Maybe there's a Cardiff one. I saw someone the other day say that they were over for a while, but no, that's exciting. We've not had one down here, and I'm tempted to try and get one, an AI hackathon going. It sounds like from the London one you attended, Adam, it sounded like it was really productive and quite good. So.
Yeah, Paul Seal was there. He demoed his Markdown thing that I think he launched last week. I think I saw it.
Yeah.
And he demoed and went through that one. I built my one. But there was a level of different level of people's knowledge in the room, which was nice. Me waffling like I've just done for an hour at people, and then people who just starting really, not really knowing where to start and stuff, but showing people what I've been doing. It's been kind of eye-opening as well. So
yeah,
I think that's also what I was starting to explore, because I won't be going on to Codegarden this year, but I've started looking at the calendar for the next events, and it's getting packed already. You've mentioned UK as well, Callum, and you're also looking for speakers and plenty of other things.
So this event. UK Conf in October, we want speakers, but I like a big focus on how people are actually doing things in the real world and real life case studies. So if you're doing something cool with AI and you want to show it, like submit. We've got a CFP open for another month.
US Festival was also sending emails, right, about the call for proposals, right?
There's a whole bunch of festivals happening in that sort of September, October window.
Maybe I'll apply.
A lot of opportunities to share knowledge and share findings and talk about more AI. But yeah, that's quite where it's going. One of my colleagues went to probably the biggest event across the tech in Poland last week or 2 weeks ago, and he came back, said that there was nothing else mentioned other than AI. so it's like okay, that's the theme. And previously they were talking about frameworks, topics, front and back end, things like that. This year it was all about different AI utilization ways,
which is interesting, but people are going to get fatigued quite quickly. And I've used it as an opportunity to start doing talks on things that are like the fundamentals of topics, which I've quite enjoyed. Actually, as we said earlier about junior developers or people starting, and it's like you don't know what jQuery is because an LLM is not going to recommend it to you anymore, and that's very true. But things like performance, security, architecture, and good patterns to follow, that sort of thing, are fundamentals that people, even doing AI-driven development, are really worth knowing. And so I've shifted in the last 12, 18 months the kinds of talks I've been doing to more like, here's how we architect an application, here's how we make something reliable or scalable or secure, or look at something through a security lens. And that's been really interesting too. So I hope to see a few more talks on like best practice, good practice, alongside the AI.
Yeah, that's not as exciting though, Callum. AI is more exciting. Boring security talk. Who wants
we are starting to sound like a dinosaurs now in IT.
Right? Back when you started, Callum.
Yeah. People
ancient times.
Security talks in a couple of years when their AI built applications are getting hacked all over the shop.
Yeah. Ancient times. Cool. Let's see that we will regroup and the next umbraCoffee will be post Codegarden, post a couple of the other events and hackathons. So hopefully we'll have a lot to talk about. People let us know if you have any other exciting things that you haven't released or are unfinished that you can share, talk about and raise awareness about. But we'll all see what is coming up next. Cool, Adam. Great demos, great stuff. Keep live coding, keep hacking. They looked awesome, and more use cases, more than welcome, especially from areas where we can and LLMs can support on not only technical aspects. So please do share them if you'll hack anything else. And yeah, everyone else, stay strong and give us some more examples to share and talk about next month as well.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you guys
Marcin,
then. Have a
Callum.
lovely
See you soon.
weekend ahead of you.
See
See you guys.
Codegarden if you're gonna be
Cheers,
there.
everyone. Safe.
Yeah. Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.